Indeed about Rosslyn Park earlier on. They get behind the man with the ball magnificently, so that there is always somebody in position to help a fellow under stress. And when you see fellows like Everton Davis and Will Carling and Steve Hackney, who began to show his legs a bit in that tie against Saracens, it's the great joy, isn't it, Nigel, for a crowd of this size at this time of the season to see great wingers and really fast wingers and centres using their legs and getting the chance to run. And that to me is the great joy of seven-a-side.
So, well, let's look at the lineup. Loughborough students with an impressive lineup of tremendous pace in the number 7 position of Steve Hackney. They've a man there who can run them in from anywhere, the England B international. The captain is Glenn Taylor, and he's a very effective worker of the ball as a flanker. Rob Taylor there, in fact, will be wearing number 10 because I think his number 2 jersey has been destroyed or something. So he'll be wearing number 10, and the try scoring of Dave Spiller. He's a real worker, and he's another man I think who's been a key performer. Well, behind you can see it's not something the rugby union love dearly, but they can't keep down the Mexican wave. It's rippling round the stadium, and of course building up to a grand finale, and the spirit of occasion. Remember, there are 53,000 people here, and I tell you what, the only policemen I can see are watching the action. And that's a very healthy sign of rugby union football these days. So the tense moments, well, it's a long time ago that I remember building up to a semi-final and a final, and you begin to feel the aches and pains at this stage, Bill, don't you? Because it's really hard graft. Loughborough, remember some of the players that have graced Twickenham in the sevens in these colours. The likes of Gerald Davies and John Taylor, Keith Fielding, Steve Smith, Fran Cotton, and of course more recently Adrian Thompson and Andy Robinson. Harlequins looking appropriately tense as they come out, led by Peter Winterbottom, and he's one of 5 of the winning team from last year. Yes, I thought they might get that reaction. I think the crowd would like a change. They've won it 4 years in a row, and Loughborough are the dark horses who've come through with tremendous style. So Quins with 5 of last year, and Will Carling is not one of those. This his very first Middlesex finals, and he's been showing electrifying form, as he has done in some of the earlier tournaments this season. Harlequins have won Surrey, Sevenoaks, Headingley, and Bill had a great semi-final at Melrose, I believe.
They were very unlucky at Melrose, Nigel. They looked at possible winners, but they went out to a penalty goal to Craig Jammers in the semi-final. But they got a great ovation there, and people loved seeing them.
Local knowledge of the young fly half. So here we go with Roger Quittenton in charge. The semi-final, a place against Rosslyn Park at stake, and it's the Harlequins in their spectacular colours against the students of Loughborough. And quick possession, of course, is vital. Taylor, key man, but kicks, I think, more often lose possession than win it back. But it's a penalty anyway, quickly taken by Luxton, and Carling now in possession, Everton Davis. But watch for the tackling, that was Hackney, but here's support Glenister. Luxton can't hold it. And I wonder about the tactics the Harlequins have employed of playing a scrum half at hooker, Bill. It's a bit of a risk.
It's definitely taking a bit of a risk, especially as you've also got a full-back as a prop forward, Nigel. We'll just see how it goes.
Loughborough, clean possession. Steve Hackney, watch the pace. Well, that time he's covered by Carling. Up comes Luxton, tackling the man without the ball. So penalty, about 15 metres out from the students' line. So 2 scrum halves. Here's Glenister, back to Luxton again. On the burst is Adrian Thompson. Some good tackling though. And Curry is back. But thrown forward. And Loughborough will get the put in. And this is a never say die team that opposes the holders. Well down in both ties so far, but in trouble here. Glenister. Well, again, one raises the question about not having a specialist scrum half in a scrum half position, because Chris Dossett was found wanting as the ball shot through, and Glenister, who is a scrum half, was able to judge it and anticipate it. Pressure on Dossett, and Glenister through for the opening score with 2 minutes gone. Yeah, it's perhaps a little harder than some might realise, picking up a loose ball out of the scrum. And Stuart Thresher, full-back specialist kicker, prop in the 7. Conversion number 7 of the afternoon for Stuart Thresher. Product of Sevenoaks School and England B International. And that's a useful 6-0 start. Didn't go 10, and as Bill McLaren's remarked during the afternoon, a bit of a need to practice some of these restart kicks. It's an easy way to lose possession, and that is what 7's all about: gaining and keeping possession, working the overlap and making the ball do the work until you can set the man free to score. So Glenister, safe strike that time. Adrian Thompson, Carling, Will Carling, oh, it's beautiful, little touch of acceleration. Davis, Carling inside, but the cover's strong. Dave Spiller with a crunching tackle. Thompson again though, Thresher's wide out. Has he got the pace? Deceptive at times, he stretches and goes, he's home. Oh, it's another great score. Thresher's 3rd try of the afternoon. And the fullback, with a build more like a back row man, even second row, really can leave them for dead, as he did here. Glenister was the man that got the possession. Then the speculative long pass, you wouldn't have thought this was a certain try, but clean pair of heels. So 4 minutes and 10-0, but don't write Loughborough off yet. They've come back twice from seemingly the dead. So the 27-year-old bidding to repeat the success of last year in the Quinn 7, but some way off target. 53,000. And most of them, I think, willing on Loughborough to fight back once again. So 5 minutes of the first period gone. Hackney waiting for it to travel the 10 metres. That creates problems. Everton Davis with the fly hack. Miscued. But a bit of obstruction. Harlequins this year bidding for a record 5 in a row. Glenister to Carling. Nicely shipped on. But the key thing was that he kept possession for Quins. Everton Davis slides round his man. Thompson. Glenister. Everton Davis. Thresher, they're on the retreat, but they're keeping possession. But not such a clever kick through by Thresher. Unlike 15s, where you see a team in possession running backwards, you'd be the first to criticise, but in 7s you can retreat in order to attack. Dossett. So into the last minute of this first half. 7 minutes each way. Richardson at the back there, alongside Thresher. Thresher it is who gets the touch. Glenister, Everton Davis. Good tackle in from Hackney, but the chance created again. There's Loughborough cover here. Glenister takes the man on. It's Dossett in with the tackle. Carling in support. Richardson, but Carling got the touchdown with the outside arm, and the try is given to put Harlequins in a pretty powerful position as we come into extra time at the end of the first 7 minutes. Well, the cover looked pretty secure. Great tackle from Hackney. But again, it's Harlequins stretching the students right across field. Glenister here was well pinned by Dossett. Richardson, I thought, would have pirouetted Carling round into touch, but this lad we know is strong. Remember the try against Wales. He takes them with him and keeps going in a forward momentum. And Will Carling, the England captain, with the third try. So 14-0, Thresher some way off. So the turnaround, and Bill McLaren, it's a long road back. Do you think they can do it, the students, for the third time?
Well, they did it in their previous two ties against Wasps 1 and Saracens, Nigel. And you know, to come back from nothing 16 down to Wasps first string was a tremendous performance. But I think that Harlequins are beginning to run into shape. They looked like it when they were beating the West London Institute. And they've got all the power, they've got the pace, they're well in charge, they're 14 points in the lead, and I would be surprised if the Loughborough students made it. But you can never tell with those young fellas, can you?
But in this instance, I think, as with Rosslyn Park, this key expertise, knowing the game of sevens as well, with that experience, which of course, as yet, the students don't have to the same degree.
That's right. I think Harlequins, of course, have built up a great reputation, and you know, when you look at that Harlequins 7, they've all got seven-a-side expertise. They've got a marvellous way of running off each other, don't they? And it's this business of support for each other that is telling so much in this style.
So, with it all to do, it's Loughborough, 14-0 down, but they're fit, and they've done it before, but they need possession. Roger Quittenton then. Instantly into the confrontation and getting it back one way or another. Carling collared that time. Penalty as he tried to play the ball off the ground, quickly taken by Dossett. They need to try and set up Hackney. Hackney's on the wide outside, but Spiller using him as a decoy, and he's through. Oh, it's a good score. Dave Spiller, and that typical of Loughborough as they bounce back, and that will give them heart. And here was a case, I think, of all eyes on Steve Hackney to run it in, and how well he used him here. See how Everton Davies had just stuck with Hackney, and Spiller, powerful and through. That keeps them in the hunt. Yeah, shrugging off the tackle, riding the last one. Good effort. So, chance to make it 8 points. What a kick! Oh, that's cruel, Chris Dossett. Specialist kicker, normally fullback. Played in this squad in 89. But 14-4, 10 points can disappear in no time in this game. Hanging well, but Taylor it was who got first touch. This is Dossett. They just must keep possession, work it, and not make that kind of handling error. Instantly, Quins know how to capitalise on it. Winterbottom, Glenister. Steve Hackney trying to run it from his own line. It's a great tap tackle by Glenister, and the follow-ups there. And that's the meaning of pressure. When you thought you might have got away having evaded one man, then instantly another Harlequin on hand to follow through and make sure Hackney could not get clear. Adrian Thompson, Will Carling trying to set it up for Everton Davis. Davis against Hackney, and a clean handoff. And behind the post, and that perhaps will be the one that puts an end to any comeback effort by the students. So back to a 14-point lead, a good handoff. Hackney had his man in his sights, but one of the features of Everton Davis's skills is a very effective handoff. 20 points to 4 with Thresher's conversion, and just under 4 minutes remaining. So 5 of the winning team of last year looking just a touch too good at the moment for Loughborough. From Luxton to Will Carling, his first taste of the Middlesex finals, and perhaps opting to take life a little more easy and save himself with the kicks. At this stage, thoughts must come into your mind about conserving energy. Will Carling waits. Loughborough desperate for possession now. Richardson at the back is the key man. It's well judged. No, it's not. The throw was, but he couldn't hold it. Davis. Running across the face of the player and obstructing. Loughborough quickly take it through Taylor. Taylor, their captain. Yes, Dossett. Still, theoretically, there's time enough. Well, this was a good run by the captain, Glenn Taylor, as the conversion now goes over of this neat little try by Dossett, converts his own try, and they're back to a 10-point margin with just over 2 minutes remaining. Well, they have a chance of quick possession. Crowd still very much behind the Loughborough students, and suggesting Harlequins are delaying, but well, they don't have to sprint back to the restart. Put the kicks out on the full, and I'm quite sure Roger Quittenton will not allow any delaying tactics to pay off, and will merely add seconds on as needs be. Loughborough through Curry. Curry on the loop. But there's the difference, the pressure that forced them into kicking through and losing possession. A minute plus any added time remained. Long but rather wild. Might work out well. And the Harlequins have smuggled it away again. Glenister, though, snatched at it, retrieved it to Davis. Ball went forward. We're down to the last half minute. Harlequins comfortably placed still at a 10-point lead, but Loughborough not done yet. Spiller spilled, and the ball worked out. Carling opting for nothing too risky. Quick throw in, but I think caught his own jumper napping. Went to Winterbottom. So all the signs of a repeat final with Harlequins once again against Rosslyn Park for the third time in 4 seasons. Loughborough still digging deep. Glenn Taylor acting the link to Hackney. Hackney against Everton Davis. Marked his man well, and there's the crucial effort put in by Thompson to cover the man inside as well. The ball in touch, Harlequins are home, and Loughborough's brave effort finally is matched by the edge of superior skills by Harlequins, which they took from the very start. A lead of 3 tries to 0 early on before Loughborough got it together and came back, but eventually it was all too much. Brave comeback by Loughborough with Spiller's try, Dossett's try, but 20 points to 10, and so Harlequins once again make the final and bid their challenge to make it a record 5 titles in a row. Well, this was a sterling effort from the Loughborough students, but the third time was not so lucky. They couldn't come back from so large a deficit of 14 points to 0 on this occasion. But some great quality sevens they've played, and can leave the field heads held high. But Harlequins, who got into